Hi, everybody. It's great to have you on our show here as listeners. And our topic today is all about AI and AI and workflow automation and how it's helping businesses save money and grow. And our guest today is Kamran Rahman. So, welcome to our show, Kamran.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you as an AI expert. I mean, everybody's talking about AI, but a lot of people still don't understand what it really means for them and their business. And you can get lost in the clutter of what AI is, what AI isn't. And so I'm sure an expert like yourself, Cameron, can help declutter AI, if you want to call it that. So it's a great tool to have, but I think you have to know how to use it properly, right?
Absolutely. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there, is that AI can be so much that people are struggling to understand how they can use it or what they can use it for. They're not finding that aha moment.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to do right now with my business, is to help businesses find that aha moment and actually implement it so we can either help them save money or scale their business.
perfect. So could you give our listeners a little bit of your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So the business is run by me and my co-founder. My background itself, I come from a software sales background. I've worked for small tech startups here in Canada, helped them grow their business to seven figures in revenue. Eventually moved on to enterprise software companies that are known nationally within Canada, US, and my most recent role being in a global software company that's pretty much known all over the world, helping businesses as well. So because I've always been part of the sales side plus the software side, I got to kind of understand how businesses are looking to use AI to either help their clients or help their own businesses to grow and scale, right? So, and because I come from that sales side of things, I'm not super technical. I'm not a developer. I'm not going to speak to you in language that you're not going to understand. I don't care how it works. I care how it's going to help that business, right? How it's going to help me move forward with my business, how it'll have an actual impact. So I think because of that background, I have a deeper understanding on how to actually help businesses grow, how to help them scale, how to help them save money using technology, the newest technology. And like I mentioned, my co-founder is also part of the business where we're 50-50, and he has a background in consulting. He works for PwC. He's done digital transformation projects, which is his specialty. So when we put both of us together, you're getting enterprise level experience at small business level pricing, pretty much. So
Yeah,
that's how
that's
I
a
like to.
fantastic package between the two of you because that's part of it. Like, AI, some people make it so technical that the average business person is completely lost, right? So to have somebody, an expert like yourself, who can explain it in layman's terms and, point by point and guide them along the way so that they're not wasting time and money on things that they don't need or don't understand. That's so invaluable. It truly
Absolutely.
is. So, let's dive into the questions here. So, what would you say some of the biggest challenges businesses have today when it comes to workflow automation, whether it's a social media workflow or their production workflow or their back end office workflow? There's all kinds of different workflows. So, what would you say their biggest challenges are?
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed is that when you're a small to medium-sized business, you're working a lot more inside your business. You're kind of in the day-to-day, so you don't really get the chance to look at the business from a holistic point of view, right? Like it's hard to see where the
Right.
inefficiencies are. It's hard to really, pinpoint where this could be a problem and it's stopping you from growing because you're always in a day-to-day.
That's right.
And I've seen that with a lot of small businesses. My family has small businesses. I have clients that are small businesses, and like I said, I come from a startup world, so I've also seen it in that space as well. So the thing that I've seen where businesses are struggling is that because they're so busy within their business, they don't have time to actually build out processes. They don't have time to build out systems to pretty much automate those systems later on. So it stops them from scaling. It stops them from growing to a certain point. And I guess that's the general problem that I've seen, just to kind of answer your question there, is that there's always an efficiency somewhere when you're always kind of in the day-to-day of your business, whether it's in the back office, back end side of things. I've seen finance teams or accountants who are still using Excel with their businesses, right? Like if you're using Excel in this day and age, like you're missing out on a lot of opportunities right there. Like that's the first thing that I would look for. If you're using Excel or a lot of manual processes in general, that's generally where you can kind of start to look at workflow automation. Social media, for example, if you're a small business and you're doing a lot of social media, it gets real tedious when you always have to manually write down your content, have it posted everywhere. That's taking you away from working within the business. So yeah, generally, I guess that would be the answer to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where AI can help you in all facets of your business, the operational side, the financial side, the marketing and social media side. So how do you work with your clients in any of those three areas?
Yeah, of course. So how we generally work is we like to really understand how they're running their business right now. We'll interview the business owners, the founders, and we'll also go through another session with their different level of employees, if they have directors or managers, and of course the people boots on the ground working on the day to day. So we like to interview them to understand what their process generally looks like, what their tasks look like. And then based off of that, if they're using Excel to, let's say, keep track of their different social media posts, if they're using something like that. So let's say Excel, they're using it to keep track of their different social media posts, where they posted it, when they posted it. Well, that's when we come in and we're like, we can automate this. This is really easy to automate because as soon as Excel is involved, there's so many tools that have been created already to help pretty much replace it altogether, right? Um, we'll go back to the social media as an example. One tool that we recommend clients if they're doing heavy social media is to use a tool called Monday.com. So what Monday.com does is if you it'll come in and pretty much automate the whole process for you. So what I mean by automating the process is that you can set it up where all your different social media content and posts go into Monday.com, have it connected with all your different social media platforms, and then you can just set up a timer or a date for it to post to all of these different channels for you without needing to manually go into each application or website to post them at a specific time and edit the post to match that type of platform. So that can be automated altogether, and we've seen businesses save hours just from that. That's just one example. Yeah.
Yeah, now, does Monday work with LinkedIn?
Yes, you can get Monday to work with all the major social media platforms. You can have it connected to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or now it's called X. You can have it connected to Threads, the new application there. And even if it doesn't, there's automation softwares that you can connect to Monday to forcefully connect to other social media platforms that might not be more well known. Uh, so yeah, it can generally connect to most of the major platforms.
Cool. So what kind of companies are early adopters of technologies, and what do you look for in a client?
Yeah, so I guess the main thing is I look for clients that are not afraid of technology, right? You have to be forward thinking, you have to be open to innovation. And I guess generally just understand that you see a value with technology and maybe you just don't know how to use it. And also, I've seen businesses, even if they're really against technology, some businesses that we've helped are just maybe struggling to scale, right? When you're when you're at a certain point with your business and you're looking to grow it, you don't want to continuously add more payroll costs, right? You don't want to add more headcount because you're not really growing at this point because every time you add $100,000 in revenue, you're adding another $50,000 in cost, right? So we've seen when businesses get to that point as well, that we can help them build the systems, automate everything, where now they can scale without adding another 10, 15, or five other employees with that increasing that cost. So those are a few places that we've seen businesses really get value from us. So either they're forward thinking, innovative, and looking to really leverage technology as much as they can to be hands off from their business, or just looking to generally scale or maybe cut costs.
So where does AI come into all of this?
Yeah, so the beauty of AI is that it's taken automation to a whole other level. For example, now one thing that we're kind of implementing with a small business right now is that they were originally a business that was getting a lot of leads from content, and they had a VA that was handling all of the inbound inquiries, right? So they come in through, whether it's through TikTok, whether it's through LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, they would always have some sort of question, which would eventually lead to a sales call after they went through the VA, the virtual assistant. So we're pretty much replacing that virtual assistant with AI. What we've done is that we've programmed ChatGPT to act as an inside salesperson, and we've pretty much fed all of the business's content and information to ChatGPT so it understands their business holistically. And then as soon as a lead comes in, ChatGPT, based off of the information it has about that business, will answer the question with a general response where it doesn't kind of screw the business over, and then it'll immediately tell them, hey, let's schedule a call and we can kind of go into the details with this. So it's able to pretty much replace that VA with any type of questions that leads or customers might have had, and it always points to, hey, let's get on a call so you can speak to somebody and get this handled ASAP. And it doesn't sound robotic. You don't even know that it's AI.
That's
So
what I
that's
was
one
going to
example.
ask. So you can program ChatGPT by giving them an example of the tone that you want to use, like
Yes.
whether you want it very professional, very casual, in between, or whatever. And then when it spits out the answer that the VA would give, it would be in the language that the company would use. It's not stilted or foreign or fake, or you know what I mean.
Absolutely. You can even have it know all of your business's information, even the pricing, right? If the lead just keeps asking like, "Hey, I don't want to get on a call. I just want to know how much does your service cost?" Well, the AI can answer that question because it has your specific business's information. So this way it could be like, "Yeah, it'll cost you $1,000 and that's it." Right? So the the client gets a good experience because sometimes, and especially in this generation, they don't always want to get on a sales call. They don't always want to deal with a person. So that's also another big benefit that we've seen.
So is that one of the services that you offer, is to program ChatGPT to be like the VA
Yep,
and the
that's
assistant, right?
exactly. That's just one example. We could go
Mhm.
way further where we've connected ChatGPT to like Monday.com. So what it'll do is that Monday.com will send a request to ChatGPT to maybe create a social media post like about this week's topic. Let's just say you're in the fitness industry, and you can just ask Monday.com to tell ChatGPT, hey, create me a social media post related to how to do proper push-ups when you're 100 pounds overweight. And it'll create the social media post, and then we can automate it to connect with Monday.com again to post it to all of your different platforms. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
just one other
fantastic.
example. Yeah.
Or you could tell ChatGPT, I just want to post this one to Instagram, or could you suggest a reel or a video or whatever to go with this post or something like that, right? You can program it pretty well to whatever you want.
Absolutely. Obviously, it's powerful in text-based content, but there's other AI tools that we can connect with to create Instagram Reels, to create Instagram pictures and posts. Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that truly is a game changer for many businesses, right? It's an absolute game changer.
Yep.
So, okay, so what is involved in an initial assessment of a company's workflow and to show them the opportunities for improvement? How do you go about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is we check to see if you even have proper processes in place, right? Before you consider automation and then before you consider AI. So automation would be level 2, AI would be level 3. You need to at least have level 1 finished, completed, which is having your processes set up, right? If you don't even have your processes mapped out and you don't know step by step how things work, then there's no way for us to help you automate things because you don't even have the process set. Obviously, we can help you get started with setting up the process and the systems, but generally speaking, you get a better benefit if you already know your processes and your systems step by step, what you need to do to get to a certain task completed. So that's the first thing that we look at. If that's done, the second thing we look at is what is your current tech stack? Your tech stack meaning your current application and tools that you're using to run the business, right? Are you using a CRM like HubSpot or Pipedrive or something? Are you using a content management system? Are you using an ERP system like QuickBooks or I don't know, NetSuite? Or yeah, there you go. So if you don't have these, then that means we're starting from ground zero. So let's see what other base tools that we can implement to facilitate all of your processes, right? But if you already have these tools set up, then we look at the next step is like, okay, now how are your employees using these tools and are they spending a lot of time inside of the tools to finish a certain task or are they able to move on quickly to the next task? And this is where we've also seen where if they have multiple tools, we can automate those tools to connect together and speak to each other so the employees are working less within those software and actually doing their jobs. So I guess that would be the 3 steps if I were to really summarize everything. It's their processes, their tech stack. If they have the right tech stack, then from there we look at automation and implementing AI. But I would say that the base level thing that we look at is, do you have a process? If you don't have a system or process, then then you're looking to work a little bit longer with us for sure. But yeah, that's generally how we evaluate things.
And what would you say the size of the businesses are that you work with, from what revenue to minimum revenue to maximum revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. So revenue is not something we strongly consider. It's more on based on the number of employees. On our website, it's super visible on what type of businesses and what size businesses we work with. But generally speaking, you shouldn't consider automation, AI, and processes if you're not at least at 7 figures. That's what we've seen. Because if you aren't at least at a 7 figure revenue point, you should be focusing on just growing and growing as much as you can, however you can. So I guess that would be the minimum threshold that we look at, is that you should have at least 7 figures. And we've seen generally businesses from we work with businesses that have at least 11 employees up to 1,000. So depending on if they have 11 to maybe a couple of hundred, we have a certain price point for that and a certain amount of services that we provide. And if you're looking at 500 to 1,000, it's a whole different ballgame. So we try to help both sides of those businesses. But generally speaking, if purely revenue wise, I think before you even consider us or any type of services related to us, it should be at least 7 figures.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, because that means you're really growing and you're established. And if you want to
Yes,
expand into different areas,
exactly.
other businesses, then for sure you need to automate and bring them all together, right? Like you might have 6 different types of businesses: a brewery, a cidery, a restaurant, a
Yep.
retail store. but they're all separate businesses, but you could bring those all together, right? Into one.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, can you use AI in your financials as well? Say you're a QuickBooks user. Can you use AI to model what expansion would look like?
Yep, absolutely. So you can use AI as a data analyst. So it can go through your different financial statements. It can go through, sorry, it can go through your whole QuickBooks. And after you connect it to AI, there's a few tools that you can use that don't require, once again, coding knowledge. I'll give you an example. There's an AI tool that I like a lot. It's called Akkio. So AKKIO.com. What it does is it's pretty much AI for data analysts. You can connect it to QuickBooks, and then you can just have a chat with the AI and ask it whatever question you want related to your financials. You can ask it like, hey, based off of my last 3 months, or let's say last quarter sales, what does my profitability look like, and is there room for expansion? Or what's my potential growth rate? Am I growing at 5% every month, or am I growing at 2%? And it'll be able to answer those questions based off of your business's financials. So with that, you're able to do kind of data-driven decisions, right? If it's telling you that you're growing at 5% every month and your profitability is at 40%, well, hey, we have room for expansion now. Maybe we should look at scaling or adding another employee to help us grow. So that's just another example on how you can use AI with your financials.
So you could program in seasonality to show the peaks and valleys of your business.
Absolutely, you can tell it to analyze everything from the last year, and based off of the seasons, when am I the busiest? When should I be focusing more on customer service and having a team ready for the busy season? It can analyze all of that information for you in a super simple like chat format where you're just talking to a regular person. It's like having a data analyst on your computer. So yeah, that's another example. And the crazy thing is, these sort of services and information back then, if you had a person doing it, you're easily paying them $100 an hour to do this sort of work, right? And it would take a couple of hours to a few months or weeks to accomplish. Now you're able to connect it to AI. It'll take a few seconds to a few minutes to analyze everything, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So are those all the AI tools that you recommend, or are there some other ones?
There's a whole bunch I can recommend, but off the top of my head, Akkio, one of my favorite, like I said, when it comes to helping businesses have more data-driven decisions. It doesn't just connect to like your financials as we spoke about. It connects to anything, right? Any type of data that you have on your business, whether it's their CRM, social media analytics, anything related to your business, it can understand the data and help you see where you're going, where you should go, and give you all that information. So Akkio, that's one of my favorite. Obviously, I love to use OpenAI, ChatGPT. That's extremely useful, and it becomes more powerful once you connect it with another tool that we use called make.com. It's very similar to
MAKE?
Yep, make.com. It's very similar to a more popular tool known as Zapier. Zapier.com. It's I would say the Zapier's like the more basic application compared to make.com, which is more advanced and powerful. So once you put all of these applications together with a few automation and process automation tools, I recommend are monday.com, like we spoke about previously, and a very powerful one that I love, and it's a bit more newer in the technology space, is called Smart Suite. They're very similar to another popular app called Airtable. They're pretty much how we describe them. They are Smart Suite is pretty much Excel on steroids, and then that's the best description that I can give. It's the most powerful thing to replace Excel in general. So yeah, those are some of the tools that I recommend and where we're specialized in.
Well, that's fantastic. So this has been a great conversation here. So the last question is, how long does it take for a company to get a return on their investment working with somebody like yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it depends on the size of the business and the projects that we undergo. But we've seen some businesses get a return on investment within 6 months. And we usually aim for 6 months. But generally speaking, if the business is a little bit bigger, we're talking 100 plus employees, we've seen a good return on investment within 12 months. And obviously, if we're talking 500 to 1,000, it's a bit longer time frame. But generally speaking, 6 to 12 months is the goal, and that's what we aim for, and that's what we've seen so far.
So AI is just in its infancy, right? I mean, this is the way of the future. I don't think there's any turning back. I mean, this is the next wave. It's sort of like the invention of Excel way back, a million years ago, it seems right now. But, that was like magic at the time. And this is like the new technical magic that's going to help businesses streamline themselves to be very, very efficient with as fewer, people as possible. But you still need the people, and you need the people that understand technology, and as you say, that are interested in moving the company forward technologically. It all works together. It doesn't work in isolation, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think the best way to describe it is that AI isn't here to replace your employees. It's here to transform the way that they work.
Yeah,
It's
good
that's the
idea.
best way that I would describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of describing it. It's taking the employee and helping them understand how they can contribute even more if they use AI as a tool.
Absolutely.
So it's been great talking to you, Kamran. And I know you have a special offer for our guests, so could you explain what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if you go on our website, soratech.co, so soratech.co, on the first page, you'll pretty much see all of our packages and prices. And the first package that we have for businesses with, I think it's anywhere from 11 to 100 employees, we're offering 50% for people that are coming from your podcast. So yeah, 50% off. It's how we packaged our services. We're a productized service company. So we do consulting, we do project and things like that, but our core way of doing business is our subscription-based service business. So whatever that subscription is, you'll get 50% off for the lifetime. And yeah, that's it. I hope it
That's
helps
a
people out.
lifetime. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, it's been great talking to you, Kamran, and I appreciate you clearing out what AI is and how it can help businesses move forward with their workflow, their automation, and be, better businesses so that they're not wasting too much time in their business. They've got the processes down, they've got the AI in place, and therefore they can expand much quicker if they understand all this, and they're not working on their business on the weekends because they've got it all in place with a service like yourself.
Absolutely. I love to see small businesses grow. They're part of they have a huge impact on our economy. And like I said, my family also is part of small businesses. So I'm here to help any way that I can. Like I said, even if you don't have your processes and systems in place, we can help you get started on that as well because business owners are busy. You don't want to always work on the weekends. You don't want to always work till 9 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. I fully understand that. And it's the reason that my business exists. It's to help business owners get their time back. One thing I can mention is that I've seen just business owners or founders that are pretty on the smaller side save at least 10 hours a week by implementing some of these strategies. So 10 hours a week adds up quite a lot over a few months and a few years to, essentially give you that freedom that you started the whole business for, right? There's no point of starting that business if you're not able to get the freedom that you're hoping for. So that's my
Yeah,
my goal
exactly.
behind it. Yeah,
Exactly. And the thing is, once you start, you'll probably be hooked on it because you'll realize that you know, we can start here, but look where we could go with this, and your growth curve might accelerate, you know, like 50%.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned that. That's exactly what we've seen. Sometimes maybe we have the conversation to automate their marketing, and we end up automating their HR, their finance, their sales, and their marketing. So I love that you mentioned that. It's literally what we've seen.
So just tell me, as a matter of interest, have you got your family business hooked?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad runs a few Airbnb businesses and restaurants, so we've pretty much automated as much as we can. I have a little brother who's like 9 years old now. Yeah, he's 9 years old, so my dad's able to spend more time with him. So it definitely had an impact, even just outside of the money and time savings. Being able to do whatever you want, I think he's enjoying it a little bit more. Like I think for the next 3 months, he's traveling like a different spot every weekend. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Well,
of
that's
course,
testimony to your services, that's for sure.
absolutely,
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Kamran, and I really appreciate you taking your time out to talk to our listeners about AI. It clears up a lot of things of what it will do and what it won't do, and it puts it in layman's terms so we can all understand it.
absolutely. That's my goal right now. Yeah,
Well, thank you once again, and you take care.
that was a pleasure. Bye.